our zest for life, because that's a really important one. I mean, sort of if we're feeling like there's no zest in it, it's really tough. And there are some situations obviously where we might need more professional help. This is where we're just kind of like when the wah or meh stage, and we're just looking for something a little more sort of to perk up our day. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're looking at this passage when ancient biblical story, when Lot's wife, this character from thousands of years ago, they're fleeing this city. They get told, don't look back at this city. If you do, there's going to be a problem. And she turns around and she looks back. She turns into a pillar of salt. That's from the Old Testament. And we read that as having a beautiful poetic truth in it. Like, what happens when we turn around and get totally looking backward instead of looking forward in our lives, just get totally consumed with looking backward, specifically just to sort of the looking back to just being right and looking back to just facts and looking back to just information. We lose the heart of things. Well, what happens is we become a pillar of salt. So I want to talk about that for a minute here. And it's real simple. She turned into a pillar of salt, means truth was purged of everything good about it, as can be seen from the symbolism of a pillar and of salt. So very, very basic there. And it's kind of an interesting perspective, right? Is that when we turn around, okay, our life is moving and all of a sudden we get frozen and we're like, I got to turn around. I can't go forward. I got to just look back. I got to look back. I got to look back. A couple of challenges with that, right? One is that we can never go back. We can look back, but we can never go back. And sometimes that's really hard. That's really hard to accept, that there just are things in life that might have been good in their time, might have been bad in their time, like who knows, but we're never going to go back to that thing, that life is going to continue to evolve and we have to allow that evolution to take place. That can be really tough. I know, just even for me professionally, like New Church Live, we had this thing around a lot of people, Thriving Kids Live program, all that, COVID hits, and we've had to shift onto an online thing. Now there's just a professional one, but if we were constantly caught back looking and lamenting over what was, we wouldn't be able to look forward into what could be. And that's important. There's what was and there's what could be. And how do we do that? How do we look forward to what really could be? Because that's where we're going to find God most of the time. Doesn't mean that we don't pull the best parts out of the past. We do pull the best parts, but it's always with that forward looking. And the other part of this, friends, and it's interesting, right? It's talking about when we just get that truth orientation and all the hearts out of stuff. So it's hard to describe. I feel like it's almost like a musical thing. It's hard to describe really good music, but I can hear it there. And when I read a passage like that, what I hear is when we just turn around and we go back to the facts and we forget about the people. Back to the facts and we forget about the people. And that kind of can burrow us in. Just look at the facts, look at the information, look at the facts, look at the information. And yet there's people on the other side, and we're really asked to be on the people side of the ledger, not on the fact side of the ledger. Fact side of the ledger is important, but that side of the ledger is to serve the people in our lives. So don't get caught up on information or proving yourself right or wishing you could finally get your figurative day in court or writing that ultra long email that's finally going to explain all things for all time. It's so easy to do that stuff. Keep the shift going towards people, because people are never interruptions. They just aren't. And I was thinking about that with zest, like people who can have that forward looking perspective and maintain it are really powerful people in the world. And it's a story I tell often. Some of you, if you're familiar with New Church Live, have heard this story before. Some of you, if you're just tuning in, probably have not heard it. It's a story about a wonderful parishioner who died a number of years ago. His name was George Graham. Went by the name. He was George Graham. He was George Graham. Wonderful man. Just inspired a lot of people in the world, including me. And George, towards the end of his life, him and I were meeting. He had terminal cancer. He knew his days were limited, and we're talking. And I asked him, I said, George, what was the best photograph you ever took? He'd been a very successful businessman, then got into photography as sort of a second career and a clear passion. And George just had this beautiful line. He got this big smile, and he said, Chuck, I haven't taken it yet. And this was beautiful. Like, this was a man who knew that his days were numbered. He knew he was on the way out. And he really had that feeling of, I haven't taken that picture yet. And he knew at that time that he was never going to take that picture, that best picture over the time he had left in this life. Like, he just didn't have enough time to do that. But it clearly was a way of looking forward to heaven, and clearly was a way of seeing these passions, this love, this connectedness move forward in life with him. And so powerful to hear him say that. And he changed a lot of people's lives over the years. And it wasn't that, it wasn't that, he had a brilliant book or wrote out like 10 habits or whatever it is. He just lived that kind of life. Literally, George was that guy. He was the guy who was always, I haven't taken it yet, when it came to the best things. And it was always this big smile. And it was always about what's the next thing on the agenda that we can do that would be fun. And that's a good way to live. And see, we all can do that, right? Of course, your life has hard parts that are sort of parked back there. Of course it does. And of course it has hard challenges. Of course it has all kinds of difficult things. And we can look, as we said in part of this whole series we've been doing on these particular passages, we can look, but we're not to stare. And especially don't turn around. Don't turn your life back around to that, because that'll get you mired in sort of all the information of life and will pull you away from people. And God's always going to be pulling you out forward, moving you towards other people, moving you towards connection, and moving you towards reclaiming or rediscovering or maybe discovering for the first time that real zest. And people like George are sure great reminders that, there's a whole lot more ahead of us, that's deeply beautiful and that we can really enjoy as we move forward in our lives. So that's the thought for today, friends. Reclaim a little zest, however that might look for you. And I wish you all the best in that journey. This is a good one to preach on, a good one to have fun taking a look at that idea. So with that, dear friends, what we do, as we always do here at New Church Live, is we come in for a soft landing. And this is a way to just have a little stillness in our day. And what we do is we ring a little prayer bell, we do a little meditation, then we do a prayer, then we do a blessing, then we say hi to folks on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. And a little meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's get a little cheery hello to folks. Say hi, and I hope again all of you have a wonderful day. Wonderful day coming up. All right, come on, Nelly. Cooperate a little bit here. All right, that's not going to cooperate. All right, there, now it cooperated. All right, Rita, good morning to you, my friend. And then, of course, it just flipped right off. Rita, I saw Rita's there. Good morning to you, Rita. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Linda, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, right, Martha, it's May. And I mean, how beautiful is this? Like, I'm just looking out here. It's just so incredibly beautiful this time of this time of year here in the Philadelphia region. That is for sure. All right. This. Oh my goodness, technology is not cooperating this morning. All right, Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Gabriella, good morning to you. Janone, thank you for the words of encouragement. Looking forward, backwards never. That's a very good way to say it. And Larry, good morning to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well, my dear friend. All right, dear